on this computer. Okay. All right. Welcome, class. We're going to go over this again because apparently I didn't record it the first time. The first thing I want to talk about is inside this problem. If you want to make a geometry similar to what's given inside the part views here, you can actually do this using a single sketch with multiple extrudes. So in this example, I've made this entire part using just a single sketch, which we can see here. And I've underdefined it, but just to show you how this works, I've got a sketch, and then each extrude is selecting a specific contour inside that sketch. And then each of the distances or the directions for the extrudes, they're all different as well. So you can see here on the extrude 2, I'm selecting this kind of cylindrical shape over here, and it has an offset and a distance that's separate from the original first extrude. And then same thing for the third one. These ones can get a little bit more complicated because the selection here is actually multiple contours because I have different sections of the sketch that are overlapping each other. So I have this section here as well as this one here. And kind of the same thing for my 4, it's just going in the opposite direction. It's going down instead of up. So again, I can toggle these back and forth to position the parts as I'm doing the different extrudes and selecting the different areas of the sketch. And the last one is another cylindrical one going in the opposite direction. So hopefully you can see how that works. I don't recommend doing that for most of your geometries because again, you're putting a lot of things into a single sketch. But if you're looking to save some time, that's one thing that you can do to help work a little bit more efficiently. Coming to our view angles here. In this example, it wants me to identify the drawing view AA. This drawing view is actually a aligned section view. We can see this by putting in a view of our part into the drawing. And then from that, if I go into the section view option, there are options for vertical, horizontal, auxiliary, and aligned. And then in aligned, I have 1, 2, 3 clicks I'm going to do. So I have the first click is the center of the alignment. And then the second 2 are both of the sides of the alignment. And once I have that in, I can put that down. And one of the key things you can use to identify aligned section views is that you can notice that the actual width of the section view is larger than the original section because I'm unfolding this part along these lines. You can actually see here that the sides of the section view extend out past the sides of the actual part. Okay, because you imagine unfolding along this this center line where the section cut is taking place. We can also do some process of reduction. We try and insert, a removed section view or a detailed view from this part. We can see how that looks and then compare that to what I have and kind of say, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't look like what I'm given. And we can do the same thing for the detail view if we want to do that. We can kind of just pick positions that we think are most appropriate and see, does that look like what I'm given? And does that make sense based off of how I've done those? If you haven't practiced some of the different drawing views that you can use, that can be a little bit difficult. But if you're familiar with the different views, that's fairly easy. And if you haven't already watched the identification of drawing views video in Solid Professor, again, that's helpful and can be used to kind of quickly identify things. I'm going to talk about isometric views in the next one. So this next one actually is an isometric model view. And again, we have the model view option that we can use to bring in a model from any orientation. Isometric is just one of the standard views. So you can see when I put that in, my model is not the same as the one that was given, but that is the correct view type. And then the display options as far as the shading and stuff like that is not one of the parts that it's asking here. So don't get distracted if it's, a solid part or if it's a line drawing or something like that. That's not what they're asking. They're just asking for you to identify the view configuration. So hopefully that's helpful, and I'll come back in a few minutes with the next part of the exam.